What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. So, we are going to go ahead and listen and react to this media availability for Jeff Saturday from yesterday. He had, this media availability because after the game, and we're going to react to this and see how we feel about it. I think he had a few sound bites on the game itself and on, a couple things that might be kind of interesting. So we'll just go ahead and quickly react to this video and we'll see what we can come away with this here.
I was a tough loss yesterday, disappointing, and just talked to the team about finishing on a positive note. Got one more opportunity, got to make the most of it, and so we're moving to that.
All right, Nate Atkins.
Hey, Jeff, got a couple for you here. Just first off, do you have an update on Nick Foles, just how he's feeling right now?
Yeah, Nick's really sore, obviously, in the whole side of his body, and obviously he took a massive shot there that landed on the ball, and so a lot of pain, and he'll be down this week.
Yeah, I mean, I've felt that before. Anyone that's ever had a football go right into their side, they know how hard that is. And that is a thing. I'm not sure if he'll mention it in this or not, but Sam Ehlinger is going to start this week with Nick Foles being down. So Sam Ehlinger is supposed to get the start in case anyone doesn't quite know that yet.
Okay. And we asked yesterday about that hit, but one thing we didn't get into was Kayvon Thibodeaux's celebration doing the snow angels on the field. I was just curious how you felt about that. And just as a coach and a former lineman, do you wish your own lineman had maybe done a little bit more in that moment to either protect Nick or get him off, or just what are your thoughts of that whole situation?
Yeah, tasteless from the celebration afterwards. Just trash. Not a fan of it at all. And that's where I'll leave it.
I mean, you could definitely see he was holding back on what his thoughts were there. Jeff saying that it was tasteless and it was trash that Thibodeaux did that celebration. Again, like, I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on the celebration originally, but then I saw that he looked over and saw that Foles was on the ground there still next to him and still did it. It was very ignorant to do that in that situation and be there in that spot. And of course, Jeff Saturday, being a former lineman himself, he tells it like it is. Like, I probably would have done something. I don't like the fact that our offensive lineman didn't do anything about it. Kind of gives you the understanding, guys. And I've kind of been saying this on social media and a few other things over the last few days, but just doesn't seem like the culture's there, right? Like, I mean, that's supposed to be a brother to you. It doesn't matter if it's the backup quarterback, doesn't matter if it's the last guy on the roster somewhere. You got to defend the people who are on your team. And the fact that nobody took offense to it until talking about it after the game shows like where this Colts team is at, especially on the O-line's perspective.
Greg Doyle.
That was kind of my question, but I'll ask you another one. Are you going to talk to them about that? Besides, they might read this in the print. Are you going to let them know that can't happen anymore?
Yeah, we'll have a discussion about it.
Thank you.
Mike Chappell.
Jeff, obviously, with Nick down, is Matt back up, or will you stick with Sam, or have you decided what you're doing at quarterback?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sam, Chap. Sam's gonna be our guy. I was happy with the way he played yesterday when he came in. Didn't do everything perfect, but I thought his energy was good. I thought he worked the ball down the field, and in all fairness to him, at the end of the game, we just we kind of pulled off, knowing where we were, and only one quarterback healthy, so to make sure we kind of protected him for this week with Matt being down. So, but I thought that he was aggressive and attacked the field, and so yeah, it'll be Sam this week with Matt backing up.
James Boyd.
That was my question, so I'm good.
Kevin Bowen.
Jeff, if Sam would have gotten hurt in the second half on Sunday, who would you have gone to?
Oh, well, I'm not gonna get into who it was, but we had already had a plan. We had discussed that before, and we discussed it at halftime, and knew which way we were going. Wristbands prepared, kind of the whole deal that you get ahead. So yeah, we have a guy, but I'm not gonna put it out there. But yeah, we had a plan.
Yeah, so that's a very interesting thing. Like they were saying, yeah, if Ellinger had gotten hurt and since Matt Ryan was inactive during that game, who would have been the quarterback? And my guess is it might have been Jelani Woods. Jelani Woods has played quarterback at one point in his career, early in his career, when he was a high schooler and even in his first year in college, that's what he was. So, I would expect that might have been what they had happen. And of course, he's not going to say it because, if something were to happen if something bad were to happen in week 18, then, you don't want to give away that idea of that going forward.
Bob Kravitz.
Jeff, in the 7-8 weeks that you've been doing this, what are the biggest lessons that you've learned about this position?
Biggest lessons. Losing sucks. I am not a fan of where we are we have not done as well as I had hoped. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew we were going to be challenged in a lot of areas, but the frustration doesn't change. I feel bad for the players, man. These guys, they fight and work each week. And obviously the results aren't good. And so, we trying to finish off strong. But, when you talk about lessons, I'll have more time when the season's over to reflect. But obviously, from an offensive perspective, that's probably been my largest frustration. And when you're undermanned from a coaching staff perspective, and then it's not, it's showing up on offense and you're seeing it. And again, these coaches are putting in the maximum amount of time and energy and effort, but it doesn't show on the field. There's frustration there. So I'd be lying if I told you I go home, feeling good about it. It frustrates the daylights out of me. And that's where we stand. The record is what it is. We've played some close games. We've done all those kinds of things. That's neither here nor there, right? The record is what it is, and trying to change it and get another win under this thing, but frustrated. But as far as like overall lessons, Bob, I won't even think about that until after the season.
Yeah, it sucks for Jeff because, again, he was put into an impossible situation, with this coaching situation that he was hired into. This offense was one of the worst offenses in the NFL before he even got there, and one of the worst offenses in Indianapolis history. And on top of it, was put into that situation, and it hasn't gotten any better at all, really, except for a few games. But clearly, it's hurting him just as much as the next guy. But of course, it falls on his shoulders as well. You want him to do better. You want him to get these guys ready. Clearly he wants to. It's just not really working for him right now.
If I can follow up real quick, being undermanned on the coaching side, how does that manifest itself on the field of play?
I think just from being able to find different ways, being able to attack defenses in different ways. Again, when you think about all the different phases of an NFL game, whether that's 4-minute, backed up, 2-minute, red zone, tight red, back, however you want to break down how you do it offensively. There's a lot of different pieces and parts as you're putting a game plan together. And so you have to limit the amount of plays you can put in there if you only have so many people or how much time is going into each section. So I would tell you when you're trying to get your game prepped and defenses decide to play you a certain way or a different way, as you're going down the scroll, that's the part that becomes difficult. So again, it's not an excuse, Bob. It's reality, and that's where we are. And nobody's going to feel sorry for you. I don't expect it. I really don't care. At the end of the day, I'm frustrated that it's not better than it is, and I'd like to see better results. And it just hasn't happened that way.
So clearly mentioning, the underwhelmingness of, the coaches, especially on the offensive side, to get things put into perspective and to get things better for each Sunday to win games. We all know it. The Colts offensive staff especially has not been great all season long. So, things have to change from that perspective, and we know changes are coming. So, nothing really new to that.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, last one, Zach Kiefer.
Jeff, kind of on that same note, when I've talked to head coaches in the past, they've always said that it's such a big step from an OC or DC job, right? There's nothing that really prepares you. Your situation was very different. You've talked about how hard this was going to be from the beginning. Has this humbled you in terms of jumping right into the top job, or was it what you expected?
No, and I told you this last night, Zach. I mean, this is what I expected. I mean, from a difficulty perspective, listen, man, you could look throughout the league. There's been guys who've been coaching a long time, great coordinators, and they've won 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, whatever it is, right? 1 game. I mean, so, my length of whatever, I don't assign to the struggles. I mean, like you said, people talk about it all the time, and I can't tell you how many coaches have come to me after each game or called me personally and had discussions about, like you said, all of them say I wasn't prepared for this, or I was working to get prepared for this, or I'm learning on the job for this. And so, no, I knew it was going to be difficult, and all the preparation in the world that people are talking about, I don't have, or whatever that looks like. The coaches who have been there forever, the records could still be the same. So I don't think the record is indicative of that. It's the process and trying to get this thing on the right track, man. And that's the frustration for me, because ultimately it comes down to putting the players in the best chance to win. And that's what we're trying to get done. And unfortunately, we haven't done enough of it.
All right, James Boyd, one more, last one here.
Just a quick update. I know you said Nick will be down this week. Do you expect a few guys to be back, like Kylan, like Kenny, like Ashton at all?
I haven't had that meeting yet, James. We'll have that here this afternoon, and we'll get even more clarification tomorrow. But I'm hopeful that those guys can get up and get ready and play. But we haven't had that. We haven't had that meeting yet.
All right. Well, that's it for that one, guys. Jeff Saturday, again, handling it like a pro with what has been going on with this Colts team and how things are going to go. Again, it's approaching the end of the season. Colts know where they're at. And, obviously some changes are coming, and we will just see what happens in the long run. But definitely was interesting to hear him talk about the O-line and having a meeting with the O-line about, why their quarterback was on the ground in pain and was being mocked, and nobody did something. So be very interesting to see what happens from here and see what happens with this Colts team week 18 against Houston, who's coming into town, and we'll see if they pull off the win or if they end up with a loss. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always,